Hi guys, I'm Tracy and welcome to today's video. So I'm going to be going over some reasons why, if you haven't already got a floppy brush, I'm just going to call it floppy. I don't know what the actual name for this type of brush is, but when I say floppy, I'm referring to these longer, sparser, bundled hairs that are very flexible. So these are probably my most flexible brushes that I have in my collection, and I really like these, so I wanted to highlight them and give you guys demos and reasons why I think, if you haven't already tried one, that it's a very good brush to have in your collection. And also I think these are very good for beginners as well. I think these are just easy to use once you you know, get your hands on it and kind of learn. And I don't hear a lot about these type of brushes, so I wanted to dedicate a video to this. So the first one, and this is the one that allowed me to try this type of brush, and that's the Soniji Soft Cheek. Now this one is the shortest of the ones I'm going to talk about. She lists this as 38 millimeters, and this one, it does change after you wash it. This is made of dyed Hakuhodo goat hairs from her Sky collection, and it's one of my all-time favorite blush brushes, but it also works great for bronzer, especially if you have a very pigmented bronzer and you don't want a very bronzed look, or if you have very fair skin and you're just trying to lightly apply pigment. I think this is a really great one. And so are the other ones, but I would say of the four I'm going to talk about, if you're going to use it for bronzer, I think this one is the best one. This is the most dense of the ones I'm going to talk about, and it's the only dyed one. But you know, I know this one's a little bit hard to come by, so I'm going to talk about some that are easier to get your hands on. But I love this one. I use it mainly for blush, but I'm going to show you guys how it works with bronzer. And I just really like it. The technique I use is I just lightly swipe, and I use kind of like light broader motion like this. And I know a lot of people don't use this brush like that. It's just how I've come to discover these type of brushes, so that's what you're going to see me doing. And this is just such a good brush. I've recommended it so many times, and so I'm not going to go into too much. I've talked about this for a while. All right, and then the next one I'm going to show you guys is the newest brush to this group of brushes, and I really do like it. I've only had it a few weeks. It was in my last Hakuhodo haul, and that's the G5537, and this is made of undyed goat hair, and as of the last time I've checked, it's not synthetic. There's no synthetic in this brush, and I know this one definitely doesn't. I don't know if that's going to be the case going forward, but it's the longest one, and I would say on the lighter side even compared to the other ones. And I've been liking this for blush. This is, I've only used it for blush, and I think I've done like swiping off fallout, and I've used it with highlighter, and it works great for all three of those tasks. And I really like this with the Patrick Ta powder blush formula, because it's very pigmented. Also, that formula is very easy to pick up, a little too easy sometimes. It really is very fine, very powdery. So if you put a dense brush into those Patrick Ta powders, you're going to pick up a lot. And if that's what you want, then you know, that's fine. It's easy to find a smaller, denser brush. But if you want to use that blush and not risk, you know, getting that clown look, I think a brush like this would work really well. And I do really like this for blush. If you do get this and it doesn't work for blush, you can use it for highlighter as well. I think it's considered a highlighting brush, and for powdering and for kicking fallout off. If you do bake, I think this would be a really good one. And yeah, so far really enjoying the G5537. Now another one that I've talked about a lot, and this one's been in my collection for quite a while, I think maybe 2 years. That's the Hakuhodo G5538. Now I think this one is a fairly good alternative to the Sonia G Soft Cheek. As you can see here, if you look at them, they look like the same length. The Hakuhodo is listed at 40 millimeters and the Soft Cheek is listed at 38, but after it's, you know, washed and used, they look about the same as far as length goes. You're going to get more hairs with the Sonia G, and this one's going to be a lighter application, but it's still a really, really good brush. Last I've checked, there's no synthetic in this one. So I think this is a really good one to start out with if you haven't already tried a brush like this. It's just very, very easy to use. I know Wayne Goss does one called the 14, although I don't know if that's available anymore. But I know this one is, and it's such a good deal. It's just a very multi-purpose brush. I used this in the demo for setting powder. Actually, I was using it for, I used the ambient lighting powders for from Hourglass, and it worked great. It's not gonna like buff on finishing powder or anything like that, so you might not get the benefit out of those finishing powders when you use a brush like this. But if you're not trying to put a heavy layer of powder, like I have fairly dry skin, especially like today it's cold, I don't want to put more powder on than I need to. A brush like this is really good. It also fits under the eyes, not as well as a super tapered brush, but again, it'll very, very gently apply powder. And also, if you use it for a highlighter, it won't really give you a very strong look, but a lot of times, you know, that's what I'm going for. Like today I used the Patrick Ta blush, but I wanted a little bit of shimmer, so I kind of like use this to mix in the highlighter, and I really like it. I feel like when I use these brushes, they tend to provide a more natural look in general, and it's a little more foolproof. It's not as easy to overdo it when you use brushes like this. Now the last one, I didn't include any demos because I demoed this for 2 products in my last video. I can link that down below. It was titled My Hakuhodo Brushes I Don't Use But You Might. So I used it for powder and I used it for highlighter, and this one works just fine. And I've heard this from a few of you guys. You guys have a Kebo brush but you don't use it, and that's the case for me. And I don't know exactly why, but if I had to put all 4 of these together, I would say this one I don't use. It's normally in storage, and I'm probably going to put it back in storage. I always say I'm going to try to use this, incorporate it into my routine more, but I never do. It's also got 2 different lengths. It kind of has that like a dual fiber brush, how they have a little bit, you know, longer. Oh yeah, this is goat and synthetic now, but I think when I bought it, it was not mixed with synthetic. That was quite a while ago, about 2 years ago. But yeah, so I don't know, you know, how different it is now that it has synthetic. Yeah, so I think they've recently put the synthetic in there, so I don't know how it's going to change the performance. But this is if you really, really want a very light application of something. If you're very fair and you don't want, you know, to put too much pigment on at once, then this would be a good one. But it's just not a shape that I'm very fond of. I think that's really what it is. So let me put all 4 of them next to each other. And another really great thing, aside from like the performance and the ease of use of these brushes, they're not that expensive. Not so much the Soniji is on the pricier side, but for the, I think, like for example, these 2, the G5537 and 5538, I'll show them up close. They're in the $30 to $35 range, and I think that's such a great deal because you're getting a very you're getting a really good brush. It's just not going to have as many hairs, but you know, for a brush like this, you don't need a lot of hairs, and also you're getting like longer hairs, which I think going forward is going to be even harder to come by. So I don't think that this one, either one of these, I think these are good ideas to add if you're doing like a final Hakuhodo order before the price increase. And but also if you do buy it later, because they're not, you know, like premium pricing, it won't cost, you know, so much later. But I just really, really adore both of these. And yeah, so basically those two, what did I say? So the main reasons is the performance, the price, and I feel like these are the, I don't know, the best or some of the best brushes to use if you are someone that wears a lot of base makeup, you know, foundation and concealer that you don't want to muddy up with your powders. And like that's someone like me, I wear a lot of base makeup, and I have often used a blush brush and it mixes up with the foundation and, you know, kind of remove some of it. I feel like with these, that's just not really going to happen, especially if you use it the way I do, just very lightly. I mean, maybe that's why I use it like that. I put, you know, almost barely any pressure, and it doesn't, you know, disturb anything that I have on before. So let me show you them all next to each other. This one is 50 millimeters, so this is the longest, and this one is 40 at its longest. It looks a little bit longer than this one. No, I guess it's the same. This one's 50 millimeters, the G5538. So 50, 40, 40, and the Soniji is listed at 38. But when you look at them, at least these three over here, they look basically the identical as far as length goes. If I had to recommend one, I would say the Soniji is great, but this one is often out of stock, and so I would say either one of these would be a really great option. You know, if you want a longer haired brush, if you want something tapered, then, you know, get this one. If you want a domed brush, this one. I don't think either one is better or worse. I think these are both great. So that is going to do it for today. Just wanted to do something really simple and kind of put out some last content before the Hakuhodo, you know, increase comes. So I hope this helps you guys out a lot, and I will see you all next time. Bye.